What's up, everybody? This is Vicious765 here, and I got another Tekken Mysteries episode for you guys. This episode is going to be focusing on Yoshimitsu, or more specifically, Yoshimitsu's sword. There's always been a lot of kind of mysterious air around Yoshimitsu's origin story, especially when the Soul series became more popular. For instance, Yoshimitsu originated in Tekken 1, but Soul Calibur, its timeline is way before Tekken 1, so technically Yoshimitsu originally exists in the Soul Calibur timeline, but first he was on Tekken, which came out before, Soul Blade and Soul Edge and Soul Calibur, whatever. Here's what I want to talk about. He has no real origin story. So in Tekken 1, there's the manual. The manual said, I think I remember specifically it reading that Yoshimitsu is a space ninja or something like that. A space cyborg ninja. Which, at the time that was like, what? That's amazing. But now it kind of sounds a little bit ridiculous. Like, I don't think Yoshimitsu is really from outer space, because none of his endings prove this, and his involvement in the Soul Calibur series further disproves it, especially the way he looks in the Soul Calibur series. Now, I don't know if these Yoshimitsus are different, because Yoshimitsu from Soul Calibur 1 through 4 is way different from Yoshimitsu from Soul Calibur 5, because Yoshimitsu from Soul Calibur 5 is Yoshimitsu, probably the first Yoshimitsu's son. I don't know if it's the first Yoshimitsu or not. It's hard to tell. But these guys are native to, if I'm not mistaken, a volcanic mountain, maybe, in Japan. And now Yoshimitsu 1, he had the sword Yoshimitsu, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And so did Yoshimitsu 2. Now, what I'm curious about is, in Tekken 6, this is where Yoshimitsu's story heats up. Now, in Tekken 6, Yoshimitsu's sword, named after himself, Yoshimitsu, is cursed, right? So this sword, it needs evil spirits to keep it from attacking its owner, or possessing its owner. And in his ending, it absorbed the jewel, was it? The jewel in Azazel's chest, and it made Yoshimitsu evil, which, I would actually applaud that storyline. I would like to see Yoshimitsu as a heel, a bad guy. But here's the thing. Where's Yoshimitsu the sword come from? Now, we know that it's named after him, and we know that there's different Yoshimitsus. We don't know if this is Yoshimitsu's son or what, but we do know that there are multiple Yoshimitsus. Does this mean that there are multiple Yoshimitsu swords? Or does it mean that they all have the same sword and it keeps getting passed down further and further through generation? What I think is Yoshimitsu from Tekken, he may be one of the Yoshimitsu descendants from Soul Calibur. He may be the last Yoshimitsu, because he was born in a time period where technology could keep him alive forever, and he would just remain a cyborg. As the Tekken series progressed, he kind of got more mechanical. Now, in Tekken 1, he was just he was a cyborg, I believe. Or maybe he was a space ninja, I forget what it was. Maybe he was a human. And then in Tekken 2, he got a mechanical arm because his other arm had gotten sliced off. I forgot what the story behind that was. It may have gotten sliced off, or maybe he just decided to add some modifications to himself, but he became more mechanical. In Tekken 3, you see he looks entirely different. All of his body is like robotic. And in Tekken 4, he's just changed entirely. He's not Yoshimitsu that he used to be. Now, in in Soul Calibur, this is what I theorize. Yoshimitsu the sword. Now, if it is the same sword passed down from generation to generation, do you think that Soul Edge, this is the weapon that is evil? It sucks the soul out of you, and it desires more souls, but it makes you extremely powerful. Do you think that Yoshimitsu could have gotten a shard of this soul edge while it was broken and added it to his own sword, Yoshimitsu, and therefore when they joined and combined together, that they created another sword like soul edge, but instead of wanting all souls, it needs evil souls, and it will still try and possess you. But as long as you provide it with evil souls, then it is satisfied, and it just doesn't want to, possess you. What do you guys think? Because I was thinking about that earlier today. I was like, you know what, Yoshimitsu doesn't really have a solid origin story, because we don't know if these Yoshimitsus have anything to do with each other from Tekken to Soul Calibur. But I think it'd be very interesting if this linked them together, if this linked them through Soul Edge, and we could hear more about it in Tekken 7, because we never heard where Yoshimitsu the sword came from. We just knew that it was a magnificent sword that can cut body, mind, and I think it was soul maybe. So, Soul Edge has been known to cut spirits, like Wisp is one of them. So, it could be that either Soul Edge morphed to the will of Yoshimitsu like it does with most people. It morphs into their discipline. If you're a samurai, it morphs into a katana. If you're a monk and you do a lot of staff work, it'll morph into a staff. So maybe it morphed into Yoshimitsu's will, and he just renamed it Yoshimitsu so people will stop searching for it. Or, like I said, it could be the shards, because Soul Edge has been destroyed multiple times. It could have been a shard that combined with Yoshimitsu's sword permanently. Just like there's other swords that have been made from Soul Edge, like Soul Calibur. Soul Calibur was made by Soul Edge. It's just a purified piece of Soul Edge. But I just been pondering that for a while. I thought it was a pretty good theory, but there's still a mystery behind it. Where does the Yoshimitsu sword come from? How did this being that was born and sort of altered and manufactured by different individuals come across this sword with his name, that bears his name as a spiritual and evil spiritual, whatever you want to call it, like it's a possessed sword? How did this possessed sword, which has to be possessed by something with an evil spirit, come into the hands of this mechanized man that was born and then mechanized? I don't know. But that does it for an episode of Tekken Mysteries. I guess you can call it Soul Calibur Mysteries as well. I will catch you